Hey guys, so I just moved into a new apartment and I finally set up a really nice and new YouTube studio kind of a space. So I thought it would be fun to just show you some of the upgrades that I recently made and also just how I practice, how I film my videos, and so on. So as you can see, this room is kind of small and it also is not sound treated at all whatsoever yet. And so you're probably hearing a bit of echo in the room. I'll take care of that eventually. But the most important thing, and really the main focus of this, is this whole desk situation here. So everything is really built around this desk, and there's a lot to discuss here. First, this is the E7 Plus by FlexiSpot, and let me do a bigger angle so you can see it. This is actually a really, really huge desk, and it's extremely sturdy. I don't know if you can tell, but it is a sit-stand desk. So I can go way up, way down. And as you can see here, there are also presets. I didn't set these up yet, but as you can see, we can have a seated preset, a standing preset, and then you also have another two banks you can use for different things you want to set the height for the desk of. Now, I've always used standing desks since I've been on YouTube. My first little studio was built around a standing desk as well. But the thing that I ran into with that desk is that it wasn't very sturdy. So as you would make the desk go nice and high, it would be very, very shaky when you would rest on it or put your hands on it. And as you can see, as I put my hand on this desk right now, it's really tall and it's just not moving whatsoever. So this standing desk actually has two motors. So there's a motor over there and there's a motor over there, and it has an insane weight capacity. I think it's like over 500 pounds of weight you can put on this desk. So I can sit on this desk right now and I'll be totally fine. Now, the reason this is so important for this particular studio setup is because every single thing, from the cameras to the microphones to the lights to the external monitor to the Axe, everything is all bolted to the desk and it's all powered by the desk as well. So I'll show you how I figured that whole thing out in a second. So amazing desk, extremely sturdy. I'll link it below if you're interested. You really can't get any better than this in terms of a standing desk. So we have the sit-stand desk, and then we have this other piece of furniture right here. This is made by Gator Frameworks, and a big shout out to Sweetwater for sending this out to me. So this is a 4U rack space. So as you can see, 3 of the spaces are taken up by my Axe 3, which is my main recording amp and everything really for the studio. And then this one rack space is a power conditioner that I bought with my own money, but I bought it from Sweetwater as well. And I'm happy I did, because when I was purchasing it, I was originally going to get a different power conditioner, and my rep Sam, shout out to him, he explained to me why I shouldn't go with that one and I should go with this one instead. So I'm happy that he explained that to me. And that's one of the great things about shopping with Sweetwater. You have someone there who actually knows about the gear, who can help you if you're not very knowledgeable. Because as you guys know, I know guitars, but I don't really know much about studio equipment. So Sweetwater is great for that. So that's this little area here. And then we have the speakers. So these are Adam Audio A7V speakers, and these are their special edition, their special anniversary edition. So they're in white. This is kind of an exclusive color. And I also got these from Sweetwater. And guys, I have to tell you, these speakers have made a huge difference already. So of course, speakers take several hours to break in before they're at their best. But even though these are not fully broken in yet, they sound amazing. Funny enough, I'll show you the first thing I listened to on these speakers. It was actually the song Unanswered by Suicide Silence. This is a song I've been listening to since I was a teenager. And as soon as I put on the song, it sounded totally different than I ever heard it before. There was this extra high mid-range kind of a thing that was happening in the drums that I just never heard before. So that was amazing. Right afterward, I immediately listened to Emily Remler, who was a jazz artist, if you don't know. So yeah, I listened to Emily Remler right afterward, and her album sounded amazing on it as well. And then, of course, I connected my Stramberg guitar to the Axe, and yeah, it was totally different than what I was used to. So the reason I wanted to upgrade my speakers is because before using these Atom audio speakers, and I'll do a separate video on these speakers eventually, but before switching to these speakers, I had these Yamaha speakers and they sounded great for music. But I was noticing that I will record YouTube videos and the thing that I was hearing in the room and the thing that I ended up recording direct through the Axe effects was actually totally different. And it made it really inefficient for me to make videos. So I wanted a pair of speakers that were really great at reproducing the exact thing that was going to be recorded. And the Atom Audios are really great for that. More on these speakers soon. So as you can see, both of the speakers are on these little lifts that are connected to the desk as well. So again, this really sturdy FlexiSpot desk is taking all the weight of the speakers and everything else on the desk. So both of the speakers connect to the Axe effects via XLR, and I'm using Mogami cables. And then the next big thing about this whole setup is this Rodecaster. I think this is the Rodecaster 2. So basically, I have this overhead mic that I use to record my videos, and so that goes into here. And then I have the Shure mic as well that I use for my podcasts and some videos as well, and that also goes here. And so the Rodecaster is basically the audio interface for these two different microphones that I use in my videos. So while we're on the Rodecaster, here's another small thing, but saves a lot of time. I mark the microphone with a particular color of the slider it belongs to. So you see that this is a pink slider. So there's a piece of pink right here. So I know it is the microphone. This is a green slider. If you look up here, you'll see a piece of green right there. And that just makes everything really fast because if I'm working, I can just quickly see, oh, that's the pink one I need to use because I want to do the podcast mic. Or no, I want to mute that one. I want to use the green one instead. Let's hit that one. And it's much faster. And here's the really, really cool thing. So we have this ginormous 32-inch Dell 4K monitor, right? The awesome thing about this monitor is that it doubles as a port hub. So the Rodecaster goes into the monitor via USB-C. The Axe effects goes into the monitor via USB. And I also record all of my videos direct using OBS, which you can see over here. So I have the cam link going from the camera to the monitor, the Rodecaster going to the monitor, the Axe effects going to the monitor, and then I can take just one USB-C cable and run it from the monitor to my MacBook. So from this one cable, I'm getting all the data transfer from all of these different things, and I'm also powering the laptop itself. And since I'm recording direct to my laptop, I never have to worry about memory cards or anything like that. And I never have to worry about how things actually look because I can see it right here on the screen instead of trying to look from across the room on this tiny monitor to make sure I'm in focus. Like I can very clearly see what's in focus and what's not right here. And then right here on the Mac, I can listen back via the MacBook Pro speakers connected to the laptop. I can listen back via the Axe FX3. And if I select the Axe FX3, it's automatically going to go through the Atom Audio speakers or these headphones that I connected to Axe FX right there. I can even listen back through the Dell monitor itself because I believe it has built-in speakers, which are probably horrible, but I haven't tried them yet. But yeah, I have that option. Or I can listen back through either of the Rodecaster's inputs. So super versatile, all from just this one cable. And then again, everything from the speakers to the monitor, everything is powered through just that one U-rack space, including the desk itself. So I can plug one thing out from the wall and I can just wheel this whole desk somewhere else if I wanted to. It's very satisfying. And interestingly enough, a lot of people like to use these external monitors when they're doing their editing work. But the reason that I wanted this monitor was actually mostly for my practicing time. So in the morning, as you can see, this is my timer from this morning. I spend several hours practicing, and I'm often jumping from transcribe to different tabs of Guitar Pro. And it's really great to be able to just sit close to the screen. I can come back here and stand up, and I can see everything very clearly and super efficiently when I'm practicing. So before this monitor, I of course had the same setup on the laptop. And even though this is a pretty big screen on the laptop, I was constantly having to zoom into the Guitar Pro to see the different tab, or I'd have to switch screens to go from the Guitar Pro to the transcribe. And it was just really, really frustrating and inefficient. So when I moved, I decided to treat myself to this monitor. And yeah, I really love it so far. Now, the next huge big studio upgrade is the way that I'm doing my lighting. So as you can see, I have these two panel lights here, and they're both made by Newer, and they're also bolted right to the desk because this desk is super sturdy and it can take a lot of weight. So that is absolutely awesome. And the really cool thing about these lights is that I can control them with the app. Now, I always had panel lights in the past. Number one, the cheap ones kept dying on me. And number two, I would always sit down and look at my screen here to check my lighting. But if I wanted to adjust anything, I would have to stand up and walk over here and go behind here and mess with the lighting and then come back down and sit and then stand back up and come over here, adjust again. And it took so long to set things up that way. And now that I can control them via the Newer app, it's just so much faster to make videos. I haven't made a video like this yet, but I've just been testing it and making test videos, and it's a lot more fun. And speaking of Newer lights, these are also lights by Newer. And this is basically the setup that I've had even in my old studio. I had similar lights by a different company, and they were fine lights, but there was no app controllability. So with the same app that I use to control these lights, I can also control these lights, and I can also control this hair light back here. So you can imagine I can sit right in my chair and kind of look at the screen. And while I'm doing all of that, I can be controlling all of my lights and get everything set up without having to walk around the room and adjust and sit and readjust and things like that. And then if I want to, I can even just store that as a preset in the app. It's really, really efficient. It's so much better than how I was doing things before. And while I was making upgrades, I also got this Newer stand. And it's much more heavy duty than the prior stand that I have. As you can see, it's heavy duty. It's not going anywhere. The other one that I had would always fall down during videos. I would trip over it. It would fall, things like that. This is much better. A couple of other things that I want to show you that I'm really, really proud of. The first thing is my cable management. So as you can see, if you look underneath the desk here, it is totally clean. My pro tip is to just use blue painter's tape. They sell all of these different fancy ways of making your desk more organized underneath. But honestly, if you just grab some blue painter's tape, you know it's not going to mess up your desk. This stuff right here, painter's tape. And I have to go back and clean this up, but basically you just use a lot of it in big wads like this. I gotta put a few more right here. And if anything ever goes wrong, let's say you need to rewire stuff, you don't have to worry about buying fancy command strips or anything leaving marks on your table. This stuff is so cheap. Just rip it off, add some more, rearrange. It's totally, totally fine. So let me also show you this new chair. So guys, apologize for this shirt being very dirty. I've been, again, putting together furniture all day long and all of that stuff. But anyway, something else that I'm very excited to show you is this Flexi Spot chair. I've showed a few different chairs on the channel, and the ones that I've showed have been very expensive. And a lot of you complained that those chairs were out of your budget. I totally understand. So over the last year, I've been testing other chairs that are more budget friendly. And this is the best one that I found. It's also by Flexi Spot. So of course you can do all the normal chair things like going down and going up. You get a bit of a recline, which is nice. And there's actually a bit of lumbar adjustability here in the back, which is nice. You don't usually see this on budget chairs, so I'm happy it's on the Flexi Spot chair. And then of course, since we're guitar players, we can move the arms up and out of the way. Now, the thing that I actually really like about this chair is playing guitar with the arms down. And what I've noticed is that when I'm playing a Strandberg guitar, the arms don't get in the way at all. I can just play like normal without the arms being an issue. And in fact, if I want to be really lazy, I can put my right arm and even my left arm on the armrests themselves. And I can just sit and play super lazily. And it's very, very comfortable. And then, of course, we can put the arms up and play guitar. Now, one thing I should mention is that if you try to play with the arms up, this arm can get in the way if you try to keep your back completely flat against the back of the chair. But this actually doesn't bother me because I was always taught that when you're playing on a chair, that you should come forward a bit and sit off of the chair more like this. And so when I play like this, of course, the arms don't get in the way whatsoever. And again, this is the way I was taught to play guitar by different people in university and so on, because you have the ability to really move from your hip and you're not kind of constrained to having your back stuck here. So yeah, if you play a Strandberg or if you sit off of the chair like I do when I'm practicing, I can highly recommend this chair. I think it's great. But again, I'll also say, in fairness, if you're someone who really wants to have your back flat against the back of the chair and you want to be able to play like this, then this is not going to be the chair for you. So just keep that in mind. So that is the studio space so far. I will also say that because I'm in a much smaller space now, I am also going to be changing the way that I do guitar stuff in general. Long story short, I'm selling a lot of my guitars. I have already sold many of them, but I'm selling almost every one of my guitars. So if you want to know which ones I end up keeping to be part of the studio and why, let me know in the comments below and I can make a separate video on that. And I'll have an update on these speakers very, very soon. And yeah, I have a lot of big plans for this little studio.